Are you making any of these 5 costly common mistakes on ChatGPT? Because these aren't just minor hiccups, they're actually wasting your time, draining your money, and in some cases even damaging your business's reputation. Now, you've probably jumped on the AI bandwagon at this point, hoping to save time or save money and effort, and you're right to. AI or ChatGPT is a powerful tool that you can use for customer service, data analysis, content. The list really goes on. But here's the thing, if you're using it wrong, it could cause more harm than help. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. In this video, I'm going to get straight to the point. I'm going to walk you through 5 of the most common rookie mistakes that solopreneurs are making when it comes to using ChatGPT, and also more importantly, some actionable tips to help you avoid these mistakes so you can learn how to truly save time, save money, and save effort by using ChatGPT correctly. Now, let's get right into it. The first and possibly most dangerous mistake is treating ChatGPT like it's some all-knowing, all-seeing oracle. I know it does a great job of sounding convincing, like it knows everything, but the reality is that ChatGPT or AI is not sentient. At least not yet. It doesn't think or reason. All it is, it's a sophisticated pattern matching machine that predicts the next most probable word based on the oceans of data that it's been trained on. And so this is what leads directly into hallucinations, where the AI makes up facts, stories, or even sources that are completely false. It can even invent fake links or contradict its own rules. Plus, ChatGPT does have a knowledge cutoff, which is not as much as what it used to be a year ago, but still, it's not an A player when it comes to current events. So what happens when you publish these AI inaccuracies is that you run the risk of damaging your company's reputation and breaking the trust that you're trying to build with your audience or with your customers. You could even throw you completely off track from the very beginning, day one of starting your business, if you're using this made-up information to draw up your business plans. Now, I know this isn't necessarily ChatGPT, but think about Gemini, Google's chatbot. It faced a ton of criticism for frequently offering dangerous advice for life-affecting topics like how to scuba dive or how to land a plane. And this led to Google's market value dropping by $100 billion after Bard, that's what Gemini was called before, even shared inaccurate information in a promotional video. So yes, this could have a major impact on your business's reputation. So is all of that perceived time saving worth the actual survival of your business? Now, the fix to this one is simple: human oversight and fact checking. You absolutely need this. Every single piece of critical content that is generated by ChatGPT must be reviewed by you before you post it or before you send it out. So it's your responsibility to manually verify all of these facts and numbers by using external and trusted or reputable sources. After spending enough time doing this, you start to spot these red flags a lot faster. And another thing that you want to do is always ask ChatGPT for proof or citations every time it gives you specific numbers, figures, statistics, or critical information. Mistake number 2 is vague prompts. And think of this as getting trapped by garbage in, garbage out. You do not want to treat ChatGPT like a simple Google search by just throwing in minimal detail into your prompts. This is a huge mistake. ChatGPT, unlike Google, needs specific instructions, details, and context to give you relevant results. It's all about context. If you don't define its role or give it some background or specify an output format, it's going to give you vague, generic, irrelevant, or even blabbering answers, because that's what it sometimes thinks it needs, because you're looking for an answer to it, and that's what it thinks it's going to do because it makes you think that it sounds smarter. You get the point, right? But vague prompts mean wasted time and computing resources. So what will happen is you're going to end up spending even more time than doing manual research trying to edit or refine or do these follow-up prompts because your very first prompt didn't quite hit the mark. But even outside of your own business, a bigger implication, and this one is crazy just to think of, is that OpenAI CEO Sam Altman even mentioned that using polite but unnecessary words or phrases like please or thank you can lead to tens of millions of dollars in unnecessary computing power. So it's crazy to think that that's the cost of something as what seems as simple as an inefficient prompt. But the fix is to simply do your very best at mastering your prompt engineering. So here are some great ways to start becoming an AI whisperer. Define the AI's role. Tell ChatGPT who to be. For example, act as a social media marketing expert for eco-friendly cleaning products. Provide context. Give it all the background information that it needs. Your audience, your goals, your business, any relevant information or necessary information that you think it might need, add that into your prompts. Then you also want to specify your output. So clearly state the length, the tone, and the format. So for example, summarize this into 100 words using a conversational tone and give it to me in bullet points. The next step, even if you've checked off these previous ones that I just mentioned, is that iteration is huge. So don't just settle for the first answer that ChatGPT gives you. Always refine it with some follow-up questions. Then this one is probably my favorite. Invite clarification from ChatGPT. So ask it to ask you any questions if it thinks that the question or whatever you're asking it to do, if you being unclear in your prompt. So for example, if you're asking ChatGPT to act as a business consultant and you're asking it to find some specific information or draw up a particular plan, let it know that since it is a consultant, what types of questions would help it deliver a better output to you. And then finally, if you are using documents in your prompts, always upload them instead of copying and pasting them directly into that chat box or your prompt box. Mistake number 3 is ignoring the AI's biases and ethical blind spots. Very important. Do not overlook this one. Never assume that ChatGPT is neutral in any of its opinions, because it's not. Remember that it doesn't think up its own thoughts. Any AI is simply trained by the massive amounts of information that is available on the internet, and often that brings along some biases, whether it's on things like gender, religion, demographics, politics. So for you as a solopreneur, you don't have a massive legal department or compliance department to catch these things. It's all on you. The ethical responsibility rests entirely on your shoulders. And what could make things worse is that ChatGPT is designed to be helpful and agreeable. And this could increase your own confirmation bias. So it makes it hard to spot these issues or even to challenge your own assumptions. So I'm sure that you can already see how something like this could hurt you or hurt your business, right? But if it's not clear just yet, let's get into some of the ways it can. Firstly is that your credibility takes a hit. If you publish content that is unknowingly biased, you risk alienating parts of your audience. And that damages your reputation and breaks down the trust that you're working so hard to build with your customers. And this next one might not affect you right now, but if you unintentionally plagiarize or published any biased messaging, this could lead to real legal problems down the line. It could also mean wasted time and effort. So imagine you spent all this time creating the perfect marketing campaign using AI only to find that there were so many inaccuracies or the campaign turns out to be offensive to a certain group of people. This means that you're going to have to go back to the drawing board and start all over again. And also, if ChatGPT simply agrees to your every existing view, it's only going to do one thing: reinforce your blind spots, which means that you could make strategic decisions based on incomplete or skewed information, basically leading you completely down the wrong path. So be your own ethical AI guardian. You need to be the gatekeeper for your AI use. Always review any answer for bias. Ask yourself questions like, who might this offend or who might this exclude? Challenge the assumptions and don't just accept anything that ChatGPT tells you. You can specifically tell it, don't just agree with me, be critical and analytical. And if you are going to be using AI, which is very likely because you're actually watching this video, stay informed. So keep yourself constantly updated on all of the best practices and emerging issues. Mistake number 4 is over-reliance and diluting your own brand authenticity. AI is definitely efficient, but over-reliance of it without any type of human intervention is a big mistake. AI-generated content can often sound overly perfect or too well polished, and so it lacks your brand's authentic tone. And I keep coming back to this point, but it is simply trained on existing data. So the AI doesn't understand your brand values, and that's why you keep getting these generic answers. Every day, people are becoming more and more familiar with AI-generated content, and sometimes they can easily tell when a LinkedIn post or an article has been written only using AI. And this to your audience can sometimes be a red flag and can weaken the trust that you're trying so hard to build with them. Or in other words, it weakens their connection to your brand. So a great way to get around this is to think of ChatGPT as an augmentation tool, not a replacement to your own thoughts and your own creativity. Use ChatGPT for idea generation and for initial content drafts. Always refine the outputs to infuse your brand's unique and authentic voice into any of its answers. You can also create custom GPTs to train the AI on your brand's own unique voice, values, and even common responses. And by doing this, you can always ensure that the output is aligned consistently with your unique style, making it feel less generic and more you. And finally, train the AI on your own data. Yes, you can do that starting right now. If you do want to check it out, we have just recently uploaded a video that shows you a simple way on how you can train the AI. If you do want to check that out, it's this one right over here. Give that a watch after this video. And just a quick little add-on under this mistake is that I did mention that people are becoming more and more familiar and being able to spot these different AI-generated content pieces, especially if it's written, and that could be a red flag, right? For example, ChatGPT is known to use those long dashes, and those are called M dashes or S dashes. So a simple way to fix this is to go into your ChatGPT settings, go into your customization, and specifically instruct it not to use M or S dashes, but instead use regular punctuation marks like question marks, parentheses, colons, semicolons. Just a quick little way to get rid of those dreaded, long-looking, weird-looking dashes in every single answer that ChatGPT gives you. Okay, now the fifth mistake is ignoring the fact that AI has an amnesia problem. So ChatGPT has a context window or a limited amount of memory that it can process in each conversation that you're having with it. So if your conversation's gone for too long, it literally forgets what you were previously speaking about. And that's why sometimes after you've been having quite a in-depth or long conversation with it, all of a sudden it tends to go off the mark, it goes rogue, and you have no idea what it's saying anymore. And that's because it's completely lost the plot. So you're going to be wasting a lot of time if you're constantly having to restart all of your conversations because they're just dragging on for too long. And if this has ever happened to you, let me know in the comments, because let's share that frustration with each other. But the best way that you can get around this is to be proactive with your context management. And this can get somewhat technical, but here are a few simple ways that you can manage your context in each conversation that you're having with ChatGPT. Periodically prompt ChatGPT to summarize the ongoing conversation that you're having with it. This makes sure that you're keeping key information of the conversation inside its current memory. And secondly, you can break down more complex tasks into smaller, more manageable segments. So simply just provide a quick brief every time you start a new part. Look, ChatGPT is an incredible tool, but it's not some kind of special miracle worker. You need to approach it with a clear understanding of both its capabilities and its limitations. I've also linked our video on how to train ChatGPT down in the description of this one, so if you do want to check that out, I know that it's about lead generation, but after watching it, you will get the gist of how you can actually train the AI with your own company or your own business's data. Keep creating, keep growing, and I'll catch you in the next video.